Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Nerd Caliber. This is Manny, and I'm here with Manuel Godoy. And tell us, what business do you own?
Yes, I own Black Sands Entertainment. It's a comic book company. We make comics, DVDs, animations, and now we're developing an app as well for Black and Brown audiences, typically teenagers.
For anyone that's not familiar with Black Sands, how would you describe it? What type of products do you have out there?
Yeah, so typically we make like Shonen Jumps. Our flagship title, Black Sands, The Seven Kingdoms, is a story about ancient Egyptian mythology following the rise of Osiris. That has been, easily our biggest title to date. It has 7 issues out, multiple hardcover books, a DVD, an animation being created by our own studio, which we have like Disney and Pixar veterans leading that production, and now we're building an app as well. We're specifically about comic books and mangas, although we're kind of like a hybrid, right? So we don't stick to the rules of comics or mangas. We're somewhere in the middle, and we've been doing it strongly, independently for a long time now. We've been doing it for about 3 years, and our sales have been skyrocketing, over the past 6 months or so and beyond.
I've been checking out the Black Sands cartoon that you have on YouTube right now, and it's amazing. I love there's not too many stories out there that takes like African and Egyptian mythology and kind of like play with it, explore it some more. Where did the idea for that come from?
Well, I was always like this. I was a big fan of the ancient alien theory. Not that I necessarily believed it or not, but the fact is they make really good arguments. So I was like, why don't we make a world in which all these things really do exist, right? But there's different type of gods. The Egyptian ones, specifically, when you look at the actual documentation of how they talked about their gods, most of them were like living beings that actually were pharaohs for a time period and died from very normal things like suffocation or bite from a freaking snake. Like these are not things that gods die from. It's like usually it takes like a mountain to hit you or something for a god to die. But Egyptians, they died pretty normal deaths. And then I also looked at other pantheons, and I was like, Greek gods were way larger than life. So I said, they're different. They're like elemental beings. They're clearly not the same as an Egyptian god, you know. And I played with that and brought all these pantheons in together into one story, and then focused on Egyptian characters who were more human-like, right, and follow their path throughout this age of mythology.
I've read and heard from other people that these stories have a very like Avatar The Last Airbender type of feel to it. Was that something you were purposely had in mind going for, or how would you describe the series like?
Well, I definitely feel like artistically, 100% Avatar-like on purpose. So artistically, although if you look at the print versions of Avatar, we're higher end than them as far as like the aesthetics looks, but the styling was very much Avatar-ish and Boondock. We kind of like hybrid those two properties into what we call Black Sands, right? As far as the story, um, I could see similarities, right? But Avatar is clearly much more childish than Black Sands. Like Black Sands is um, a very seinen show masquerading as a shonen, right? It's like a lot of politics going on, kingdoms doing their own things, lots of multiple different storylines. These kids are not the important people. Like there's a lot of important things going on in the world. So, that's how I feel about it anyway.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about the future of the company. Now, you're working on an app right now. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah, so I saw a couple of gaps in the market when it came to Black comic books in general. So, we focus almost exclusively on this audience, and we've been scaling rapidly from there. And we felt like Comixology and Webtoons, the two biggest like consumer facing like comic platforms for mobile devices, that they were just lacking in this specific audience, right? They didn't serve it well. So webtoons is hard locked into female audiences. They have a lot of romances. They can't get out of it. It's like they just can't break from that mold, right? They did amazing, but it's that they're stuck in that niche. So, it's wide open when it comes to coming in and taking a different segment of the market. Comixology is so premium based that, if you're not DC or Marvel, your relationship with Comixology is you're just added on there, right? So creators don't necessarily look at the Comixology thing as a big play for them, right? So we come in and we're specifically going for the more fan base oriented people, the more culturally sensitive people who also are into pop culture, and we bring them into a place where they can be comfortable. The app is very similar to webtoons in functionality, but it has a lot of gamified experiences. So we're talking about like gotcha systems, we're talking about lore cards and collectibles, and we also have our own forum on the app, which is going to be huge for getting those people who are reluctant users of webtoons or Comixology and give them a place where if they're not even into comic books like that, they can still be on there for like pop culture forum that they're actually on there talking and stuff, so.
Oh, okay. When do you see this app coming out, and what would be the cost for it, you thinking?
It's about February and free to play. All right. So
Oh,
everybody, yeah, you can get on there immediately, read comic books. There's non-premium comic books, which is like, first of all, users can just put their own comics on there, right? There's a curation period where we look at their stuff and see if it's, of the proper quality and, has the right, the right censorship or whatever in order to get onto the platform. Once they're on there, though, if they're a non-premium title, they're automatically in there in our comics archive. People can check them out. Everything's mobilely optimized. It has to be. We don't do like just straight up PDFs on there. It's everything server side. And for the premium stuff, just doing stuff on the app, like reading a comic or commenting in the forum or logging on every day, gets you currency to go and roll in the premium thing. And then you get all the cool little RPG gotcha stuff, right? In order to unlock the premium chapters. You can do everything for free. If you want to go faster, you pay, right? Right? The idea of gotcha games, right? So, but I felt like it was like, even though people do not necessarily like the mechanics of gotcha, they like gotcha games more than non-gotcha games. All right, so it's like you say you don't want it, but then that's the one you use the most. So I figured it would be a fun way to gate content so people don't burn through content too fast, right? While also getting that YouTube sensation feeling of, oh, look what I just rolled, oh my god, right?
so a lot of independent comic creators tend to struggle sometimes financially, especially with COVID being an issue. How, if I may ask, how's Black Sands doing?
Yes, well, one of the things that we focus on is sales. That's like our most important thing, and we've been doing online sales, moving to that for years. So when COVID hit, a lot of my friends, they go almost exclusively to shows in order to sell product, and all the shows are gone now. So they've really been hit hard in their pockets to sell. And I always told people, have a backup plan, go online. With us, we've been doing online sales, basically dominating our stuff for like 70% of our sales since forever. Now it's like 99% of our sales, and we don't even do shows anymore. And we just hit the milestone of being able to sustain $100,000 a month in sales online, and we're trying to scale that up from here. So it's doing phenomenal for us. The way I pay myself, right? Because I have a corporation. So the way I pay myself is I do a 10% rule, right? Whatever I make, I get 10%. That's my cut, right? And that's fine for me. I'm perfectly content with only taking 10% of what I do. The main thing is growing the company as fast as possible and keeping the money in-house so we can develop more product, right? More product you have, more money you can make, all right?
Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh, okay, okay. And do you have anything else coming down the pipeline from Black Sands Entertainment?
Yeah, so we have the show for Black Sands, the 3D animated pilot should be hitting, I say, in early December, late November, that kind of feel, right? We also that was done by my studio, Black Sand Studios, headed by Turner Sterat, which is our animation veteran. He's been running large productions for big companies for like decades, right? So he's with us for the next 3 to 5 years, and he's been recruiting like crazy, getting people in there, and that should be around December when you see it. And the thing about it is when we were creating this show, I was telling him specifically, I said this pilot needs to raise $30 million. That's what this needs. This can't be the, oh, okay, this is good enough. Now we can make a better show later. This has to be the like this is the product, right? And if you think this is worth 30 million, this is what we got to do, right? Because our biggest thing about this whole process is like anything about African history at all, right? Hasn't come out from Hollywood for like 40 years. They don't invest in it on purpose. There's no way they didn't think, you know what, let's try one and see what happens. Like this is like one of the things they will not do. So you have to go into the mindset is we have to make it ourselves, but it has to be worth the investment. I can't ask people for money and then not have the best possible product ever created, right? Like it can't just be like, oh, I made one and it's like some regular like Saturday morning cartoon feel to it. It has to feel like this was like a Netflix top budget production, and we can do it, and that's what the pilot is for, is to prove our capabilities,
Okay. So before we wrap up and ask you to let me know where to go to find more of your work, more of Black Sands Entertainment, just a question. So more of a personal question. Growing up, I I grew up in the Bronx, and I didn't see too many. I guess you could say people of color owning their own businesses, and I would have loved, my friends and I would have loved to see more of that to kind of inspire us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what, for anyone watching this and they may have the same dreams, wanting to start their own business or get into animation or anything like that, what advice would you give them?
Well, there's always two paths I say to every creator, right? If they want to be in the creative field, like I am, there's the business path and just the creator side. The creator side is you work for a living doing what you do. Like maybe you're an artist or you're a writer, and you do that and you get checks for it, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. People do that all the time. It's a great way to have a career. It's no different than somebody making a lot of money being a plumber, right? It's their craft. It's what they're comfortable doing, and they want to have a great comfortable life. I'll tell you one thing, those careers don't end. Right? Those are those secure ones. If you're an artist and you're a great artist and you're just going up the thing over time, you're gonna be fine. Nobody's gonna lose demand of artists that already in demand. And what the other way, the one that I'm doing, where you're out there making a company and selling product and stuff, the biggest thing is to know your numbers. You got to know your numbers more than anything and focus on them. Everybody likes telling the story that they want to get out there and everything else. But at the end of the day, right, if you're not selling copies or getting a certain points, you can't be profitable. And then you have to do that 9 to 5 in order to, survive. You're like, okay, I still got to do my 9 to 5 and overtime in order to pay my rent, and then I'll do my comics. That's not the way you should be doing it, right? But people don't focus on those numbers, and they end up being caught in that thing because they just want to be doing it for, I guess, clout, right? That would be a proper word nowadays, the clout of it, right? Like I made comics, it's like I want to say, are you selling, right? Now the cool thing is we give opportunities to everybody. So I've learned it's very hard to do deals with current creators, right? Because they're looking at the Disney deal, the Dark Horse deal in the future, and they're like, why you? Why should I do a deal with you? I'm like, okay, it's a great deal on paper compared to what they're offering right now, but it doesn't come. So what I've done is we've changed our mission to get brand new creators who've never done this before and forge them into comic creators. And so long as they want to work on writing scripts, building stuff for Black Sands Entertainment, right? Then we hold their hand throughout the entire process, give them a 3-book deal when we think they have a really good idea, right? And if they survive the 3-book deal without no incident, right? Because some people just, can't work with them for whatever reason, right? But if they get past 3 books, they're hard locked into the story that they created. So later on, we're 8, 9, 10 issues in, I'll never replace them with someone else. And if they miss a book because whatever reason, they just say, you know what, I just gotta stop for like a month or two. I just gotta take a vacation. He said we assign somebody on there temporarily, but it's their IP basically as far as like the work is concerned. So they could consistently get that check every 3 months or so, which is their slice of the pie of whatever they did their deal with me for. This is the people I want to work with because they understand that Black Sands is the end goal as opposed to, I'm gonna work for Disney one day or whatever. I've met these people who work for Disney. I have friends like that. A lot of people in my industry know these people. But why are they at the artist alley table next to you? It's like it's like a comic convention basically places people based on their worth in the industry. Right? You'll never see a Funimation person sitting next to you. Right? But you'll see that guy who works for Marvel sitting next to you because he's not really making that much money. He's just not. He has a career in this, but it's not like that's why he's sitting next to you selling books because he has to. So I just want people to understand that there is easily a career in this, especially if you are from a minority, if you're speaking to a minority audience, because they don't have much options in the first place. If you're Hispanic and you're selling to Hispanic comic book creators, unless you're in Brazil where it's over, because they're all Brazilians, so it's like they got their content, right? But if you're here in the United States and you're selling Hispanic comic books and stuff like that, or anything about Hispanic history or whatever, you got an audience that you can really like dominate, and they pay more than anybody else because they don't go to comic book shops to find their books. They don't know about the $5 comic book. All they see is your book. They see the quality and they say, that's $10. No problem. They don't care what the comic book shop says because they don't even go to comic book shops. So once you understand that, you're all gonna do amazing. I promise that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So yes, where can people go to find more of this?
Well, they can go to blacksandsentertainment.com in order to buy books from us, or Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Black Sands Entertainment. That's the logo for all of them. So all you gotta do is look that up and you're gonna be able to follow us. We have like 350,000 followers now across all platforms. And it's fun. I make a lot of jokes and I start a lot of drama, but that's it's all a part of the plan, right?
and the app comes out in February.
Yes, we are shooting for February at the latest, right? We're probably gonna have a couple of closed betas and stuff earlier than that, right? Just to go and make sure that everything's working properly. But most likely, just because February is also Black History Month, it's a great time to go and double market that. So.
Okay, excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I just been introduced to your work and I'm loving this. And yes, everyone out there, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more content. Have a great day.